Attention all viewers, the program you are about to watch, Searching for Sasquatch, is for entertainment purposes. Accounts described by guests are claimed to be true and accurate. Some names have been changed to protect individual privacy. Jason Kenzie is an expert animal adventurer with 25 years of field experience. Caution and companionship is advised for all who venture into the deep forest or backcountry.
Go.
Hurry up, Chad!
Yeah, okay, so.
Another one down
now
here?
for the other one.
Oh, what happened? Yes. Yes.
What?
Dude, the cast is gone. The cast is f***ing gone.
Before I began my investigations into the lure of Bigfoot, I traveled the world meeting people who live with the most amazing animals. The dynamics that surround these forest giants is very complex.
Oh, this is so cool.
As a skeptic, I'm on a mission, an adventure of a lifetime, to find evidence that if these Bigfoot creatures are real, I can once and for all put my doubts aside and share with the world that that sound of that simple crack in the forest may not just be a chipmunk. My name is Jason Kenzie. These are my chronicles into searching for Sasquatch.
I hear something.
Oakridge, Oregon is a charming city nestled in the foothills of the western Cascade Mountains. Known as the mountain bike capital of the Northwest, Oakridge is surrounded by the vast Willamette National Forest, offering endless outdoor adventures. With over 500 miles of trails, it's a paradise for hikers, bikers, and nature enthusiasts. The city has a rich history, originally established as a railroad boomtown and later becoming a hub for logging. Oakridge is also known for its beautiful weather, with over 300 days of sunshine annually due to the elevation, which keeps it above the valley fog and below the heavy mountain snows. The city hosts various events throughout the year, including the Tree Planting Festival, concerts in the park, and Sasquatch Summerfest. Whether you're looking to explore nature, enjoy outdoor sports, or experience local culture, Oakridge has something for everyone, even a possible sighting of the cryptid known as Sasquatch. So we are now heading into an area where there has been these Bigfoot creatures spotted. Exactly where are we going?
Bohemian Mountain.
So this is what they were talking about earlier. It has some mines, some mine shafts, some caves in the vicinity.
Yeah, and it's an old ghost town.
We went there before. That's what I was talking about.
Yeah, and it has an old post office and an old mine that is no longer in use. So we'll check out that cave.
It's no longer used by the living.
USB up there.
The living. Yeah, it's supposed to be haunted too, so.
Wait,
before I go any further, let me introduce you to Priscilla Davison and her husband Steve. They've graciously brought me and my team of Bigfoot researchers down to Oakridge, Oregon to speak at the Sasquatch Summerfest. Their dedication and passion for the legendary Sasquatch are truly inspiring. Imagine the thrill as we navigate into areas of these beautiful forests where blood-curdling roars are said to frighten hikers and campers. This journey is more than an investigation. It's a dive into the unknown, where every shadow could hide the proof we've been searching for. Here is their story. And don't worry, we'll soon get back to our spine-tingling adventure up to the abandoned ghost town.
My name is Priscilla. Often forget when I'm interviewed. See, I'm so nervous. I think he's recording right now.
No. I haven't first. I want to practice first, so try it again. Oh, that was perfect. Okay, now do it.
My name is Priscilla. I own Bigfoot's Brush Cutting and now Sasquatch Summerfest. Not everything is Bigfoot. I've only seen one Bigfoot, okay?
Only one.
Only one.
Okay. Your turn.
That's not true.
Well, no, we had an encounter. I did not see it.
My name is Steve. I'm a retired police officer. Now I work at a mill. I had enough of that career. And I had one encounter back in November of 2008.
As Priscilla and Steve tell their story, our adventure up to the ghost town continues. And then you almost had a sighting.
Almost, yeah.
So Steve's driving. I'm just watching the side of the mountain while he's driving. And then I seen this. This was in Jasper. It was about 6 years ago. Our daughter was still in the Marine, so that's why I think it was about 6 years ago. So I see this very tall, slender, jet black. It seemed like it had short hair, kind of like a Doberman, but it's very tall and skinny, and it was running at an angle up the side of the mountain, and so not the traditional big, giant, hairy Bigfoot, you know. But
Are you sure it wasn't a Doberman?
Positive it was not a Doberman. But so it was so fast, and just it moved on the side of the mountain like no human could have done that.
These are all gold mines.
It was like a marathon runner on flat ground, but on the side of the mountain. And I'm watching it for like probably a good 10 seconds, just trying to compute like what I'm seeing. And like I wanted to say something, and and then I'm like, I think I just saw a Bigfoot.
So you were driving.
I was driving.
He was driving.
She was watching Bigfoot for 10 seconds and saying nothing to me about it.
That is hilarious. I love the way Priscilla and Steve banter. They are so funny together. Now, I don't know what I would do if I was driving and the person next to me was watching a Bigfoot running up the side of a mountain. I probably would have turned around.
But what was happening is the part of the road we were on, it does a little S-turn and goes underneath a railroad trestle. And so you kind of have to navigate that. And while that was happening, there were several vehicles stopped and people getting out of their cars and looking up at the hillside that she was looking at, but I didn't know she was looking.
So meanwhile, you are like swerving around.
I'm trying not to run anybody over. There's a deer carcass with giant vultures taking off from it. There was a lot of weird things happening in front of me, and I'm like, what is going on here? And then she tells me I've been looking at a Bigfoot for about 10 seconds. And I'm like, great, could you say something? You know, should I turn around? You know? So,
I don't know, it was like I was blocked. I mean, I didn't know what I was seeing, and I didn't mean to not say something. It was just,
even if you would have said something, I would have looked and we'd have ran somebody over. There was people getting out looking at it too. I don't know any of those people, but I didn't know what they were looking at. But they were in the road.
Usually when I'm driving and I see something, I'm like, hey, look, a deer! Like I'm always, hey, Bigfoot! So what do you want to say to your husband now that it's all over?
If I ever see a Bigfoot, I will say, hey, there's a Bigfoot. Look!
So what do you think about this area that you live in?
My dad, Ronnie Roseman, he's been obsessed with Bigfoot for over 50 years, my whole life. So he has a spot out here where he goes out into the woods and he plays a guitar for them. Like it just him alone. He'll go out there and sing for them and put food out for them and stuff, and he'll come back and check on the food. And the funny thing is he hasn't seen any of them either, but they have surrounded him, and he's had encounters where they've, growled at him, where he was afraid to go back. One time it got so intense that it took him like a year to go back.
So you hear stories from other people too?
Oh yeah.
As I'm standing here listening to Priscilla tell her story about her dad, Ronald Roseman's Bigfoot encounter, I can totally relate with being roared at. It is terrifying. This is why I had to go into the area to explore the possibility of finding evidence of these creatures. But I didn't go alone. Okay, so this is what we're gonna do. Gwendolyn,
Yeah?
I will go first.
Okay.
and lead the way.
Okay.
In case the creature is behind us.
Okay. All right.
So it gets her from behind. It didn't take long before Gwendolyn and I spotted a familiar looking tree structure that we have seen in many locations around North America, a tree X. Many Bigfoot researchers believe these creatures build these structures as a warning either to us humans or other Bigfoots to keep out. I moved closer because I need to have a look at the root system to see if these trees are either growing or if they've been placed there. Okay, so this is jammed into the ground right here.
Really?
Yeah. This is definitely jammed into the ground.
Ooh.
I can see that's jammed. And this one is growing. Either that, it is jammed in the ground, and I'm too weak to.
That's a pretty big tree. It's like 1.5 times the circumference of your head.
Are you talking about that one's big? Huh? Look at that one there.
That one's big. So is that a split on that one tree going right down the center then?
Yep. Definitely.
Wow.
Right there.
It's
Big
like a
split. We are so lost though, but wait. So we've walked away from everyone. They're way back there in the cars. Just go into the shadows of the forest. We probably will have better luck having these creatures come up to us. As we moved slowly through the forest, we kept hearing something moving alongside of us. Suddenly, from out of the darkness, came a growl or a bark, causing us to stop in our tracks. We heard some kind of an animal, possibly a dog, but there shouldn't be anyone here. We're pretty far into the wilderness.
That's a quick little bark.
It was like, yeah, quick little bark. Oh, something's moving right there. Must always remember to look behind you. You keep looking that way. Because these creatures seem to like distract you. Right? They make something happen in front of you and really they're looking at you from behind. Which, yeah. I'm not sure if you caught that, but behind us was a creature watching us. Its eye shine peeks out from behind a tree, possibly an owl or a rodent. Whatever it is, it's about 5 feet off the ground. Maybe. Okay, so we have walked maybe a quarter of a mile. I know our flashlights are slowly dying, so I don't know how much further we should go, but this is so much fun. So much fun. Good thing is, I've never been lost. Except for that time in Florida. And the other time in the Rocky Mountains. Yeah, Kentucky, I got lost. But other than that, I don't get lost. Harrison Hot Springs, I got lost there, yes. Other than that, nope. We never get lost, ever. Oh, there's a trail. We found a trail. And then suddenly we found something that stopped us in our tracks.
No way.
What the fuck is this? These are placed here, dude.
Wait, don't touch it yet. Can I see it before you touch it?
No, it's all placed here.
That's wild.
Just like, let me just get that.
Dude, it looks like a hammer hand.
Hold on, I'll get a picture.
Burnt, but that's placed there. This is placed there.
I mean, this is like a tree knot.
Yeah. and it's pulled out
of the
freaking
tree.
There is no. What was that?
I told you there's something behind me.
Are we supposed to take these? Are these gifts?
I don't know if this was left here as a gift by these Bigfoot creatures. But what if it is a warning? What if these creatures are showing us how powerful they are? They can show us that they can rip it out of the tree. I don't know for sure, but I think we're gonna have to find out. Chad, do you think this was left here?
I don't think they just left them.
There is
They
no
might have.
way a human can pull that out of a tree. Those are knots. That's what a knot looks like in a tree? Yes.
Right, yeah. It's like something just pulled it straight out of the tree. What in the world? That is the coolest thing I've ever seen.
We weren't sure if these were left to us as gifts by Bigfoot. So out of respect, we all decided to leave our own gifts back to them. Obviously, I only had some Canadian money. This is a Canadian dime. It's worth nothing. But to Bigfoot, this is for you. I'm sorry that it's a Canadian dime. I had nothing.
Chad, come here.
I had nothing else, but I'm gonna put this right here for you. That's for you, and now I'll take this.
Wait, that's mine.
I will not take this. I'm holding mine.
I'm gonna come back here. Well, I want to know where this ends out so that Jason and I can hike back up here tomorrow. This is easy.
I like how he says Jason and I are going to hike up here tomorrow. I'll stay with the tent all by myself.
I left a gift for you.
Actually, no, I'm not. I'm hiking up with them. If it wasn't for you, we'd be lost forever. Still not knowing exactly what left those tree knots on those stumps. Maybe they were for us, we're not sure. It's probably put there by humans. After about an hour or so looking around and getting turned around, we decided to head back the way we came. And even though we didn't know we were going in the exact direction of where we came from, we were sure relieved when we spotted something familiar.
There's the headlight.
There we go.
There's.
This area is supposed to be a big hotspot when it comes to like Bigfoot activity.
I know that there's been sightings. And I'm like, okay, so this spot hasn't even been marked on your map, but I know that people have had several sightings on Leduc Road, and that wasn't even on there.
So where are you guys taking me today?
We're going to take you out towards Bohemia. It's an old mining district. There's still active claims there. There's a ghost town there with an abandoned mine. Who knows how long it'll be there? I mean, there's old structures there that aren't getting better with time. But the area around there's a lot of sightings. A lot of people report sightings there, and the forest is pretty medieval. It's a little. You'll see when you get there. It's a little bit different than it is around here.
Is there Bigfoot sightings around that area too?
There's Bigfoot sightings all around this area. I wouldn't. Where's the hot spot?
Yeah, the hot spots are everywhere. In the Pacific Northwest, in the Cascade Mountain Range, it's just.
The hot spots seem to be in places where there's other game animal like elk, because that's where people go. In order for a Bigfoot sighting to happen, there has to be a person.
That's exactly what I said.
Yeah.
I always say that. They're like, well, there won't be any Bigfoots there. I'm like, well, you kind of need people to have a Bigfoot sighting. So.
The woods here are so thick. If you walked 6 feet into the woods in a fluorescent orange jumpsuit, you'll never be seen again. Unless you want to be. It's so.
Yeah.
Everything kind of.
It's so thick here. We don't know
around
what's
roads,
out there.
They
say that there's no grizzlies out there, and then.
I have a picture of a grizzly.
Yeah, and then they don't believe it until the forest ranger's like, no, I did see a grizzly.
Yeah. Well, they said this year they're reintroducing grizzlies, which means they've been doing it for 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's great. So now I'm going to push record.
You already know you're recording all that. Let's go see the mine.
Okay. This is f***ing awesome. As we were looking around, I was informed by Steve that only a couple miles away was the largest forest fire in the United States, burning, destroying thousands of hectares of wilderness. We must be careful and be able to judge the wind, for now it's blowing away from us. We'll go around it, go up and around.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. If you're wondering who said that, I have an app open on my phone called Spirit Talker. This app is supposed to let the dead talk through it.
Oh, look right through there.
Oh yeah? Oh yeah. 1990 Nike shoe. Oh, this place is amazing. I love ghost towns, and they're scattered all over North America. If you ever get a chance to go to a ghost town, do it. There's so much history here. I mean, hey, we've already seen that 1990 Nike shoe. After a couple of hours of looking around, and with no evidence of legendary creatures being here, we headed back to town. Tomorrow, we have a Bigfoot festival to attend. Oh my God, I'm on my way to Sasquatch Summerfest. I'm going to be speaking. I have a table. This is going to be incredible. Oh my God, come here. Oh my God. Oh my God, it's Todd Neese. Todd Neese. Oh my gosh, look at this. It's Todd Neese. Everyone come, look, it's Todd Neese. $200 an autograph. And you get this, and he'll even spit in your food. And you get a rock.
I want a lot.
Look at this. Look at this. It's Ron.
Hey, do you take credit?
Yeah, yes, we do. $200. You get a rock and a picture. And if you don't like his picture this way, you can actually. There we go. It's perfect. He's way better looking on this side.
What a deal. What a deal. I'll take 5 of them.
Take 5. I love Todd. He is such a good sport, and he's a great researcher. If you haven't heard of him, you should look him up. Anyway, Todd is quite famous in the Bigfoot world. He's had some incredible encounters with these Bigfoot creatures. I think he might be half Bigfoot. Sasquatch Summerfest has been a great experience. Tell me, how's your day?
Doing good, and we are talking to people that have had encounters in different places around Oakridge. Gold miner who had a visual sighting, and from Bigfoot Society. So we are talking to people live about their encounters here. So
I got to meet Tobe Johnson, an audio expert. Brett and Jill, the producers of Flash of Beauty.
Out of Florida.
So many wonderful vendors. I even got to meet Christy Sanders, the skunk ape king himself, David Shealy, and Bigfoot researcher Chad Datema.
Very young. I started out when I was about 13, investigating the paranormal. How I started was...
We rounded a corner, a long sweeping right-hand turn, and as we did that second blast site, the one we had detonated maybe an hour and a half before, came into view. But what struck me was looking down there at that quarry, I see 3 figures, 3 very big, dark figures standing on 2 legs, facing our convoy as we're coming down this road across the ravine. Took me about 1.2 seconds to realize what I looked at. It were not people at all. They didn't have our silhouette. They had arms and went down below their knees.
And I'm droning the top of the lake, and I could see all these footprints. And even when I was looking at it, I could see the toes in the water. So I took the footage to First Nations people, and they said that I had found the migration path of the Sasquatch people. Hey, do you want to grab my camera there? That's been filming these people for the last 20 minutes. Oh, you guys look good. You know what? It's going to be like my next documentary, Searching for Sasquatch and the 4 people. No sooner did I get off the stage, I was asked to check out some fingerprints found on the side of a truck. The owner said he was visited by Bigfoot that shook his truck in the night. What's going on?
Hey, so do you mind telling Jason your story here? He's an investigator. This is Jason,
hey,
Kenzie.
How's it going?
Nice to meet you.
Nice
So
to
go
meet
ahead and tell him what you
Good
told
to
me.
see you too.
Good to see you again.
Okay, essentially, while I was watching your documentary, about halfway through, I heard footsteps down along the creek on the trail that's right next to the creek.
Yeah.
Like the big heavy, like doosh, 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 doosh. And it stopped right at my tent.
I'm going to stop there before I go any deeper into Josh's Bigfoot fingerprint story. Let's first find out a bit more about who he is. Trust me, I'm extremely excited to learn more about these fingerprints.
I'm Josh Vanek from Westland, Oregon. Stay-at-home dad. Used to be a animation and visual effects guy. And then mixed paint for a living. And so I've been through a lot of places. I grew up in South Central Alaska. I encountered them as a child.
Who encountered what?
Sasquatch. They were like hairy men in the woods. We didn't understand at the time. But so I've always been aware of them, but like I try to just sort of not engage. But recently, since we moved to Westland, there's been like, we moved into a house, and there's a family of them in the park behind my house, and I interact with them almost daily now. But like,
when you interact with them, what do you do exactly?
Well, the female revealed herself to me about 1.5 years ago, and she like, what happened was I caught one of them plopping onto my roof, and I thought maybe it was raccoons, and I just needed to double check because I wasn't ready to deal with Bigfoot, you know. So I popped the window up and look out. It jumps, whatever it was, jumped up. It turned around, and it was a baby Bigfoot with like a little human face with like his mouth open. It's just like freaked out. His eyes are huge, but a little Q-tip of a head. I'm like, oh, hey, little guy. Okay. And I look and I hear a stomp, 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 and I look over and there's the mom. And she's like doing this head bob up and down.
Any audio? Like,
oh no, I do have some like.
No, but did it say any sound?
It just gave like a little snort, but like a little but like she was very quiet and very like stoic, and then she started to turn around and I go, okay, good night. And she looks at me again. And then she flops down, and I could just see the fence. And what the length of the fence was probably about the length of the back of the truck. The shoulders were like right here. Like 2 days later, went into the backyard and I heard some rustling up in one of the trees up above my cat. And I was like, oh, please don't be one of those things. I don't want it to eat my cat. So then I start to go get my cat. Turns out she's right next to it. She's mad. I didn't understand, but she was cloaked. And she gets the baby and she starts pushing over trees and crashing and all this stuff. And then that night, the entire troop came onto my roof and they were all like moving around, just making a ruckus. And one of them was trying to like pick at an exhaust fan on top of my roof. And I was...
So when you say on your roof of your house?
My house. So then I just hear the claw mark of it, just like tick, 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 tick. And I hear it. I get to the spot where I'm hearing the ticking sound, and I just hear its big hairy butt just like plop down. You hear the individual like horse hairs just like hit the roof tile. and it just starts like really clawing at it. And so then I take a broom and just go boom, boom. Then I go to the back window to see if I can see anything else. And there's the big male. Pretty sure he's about 15 feet tall, right the way I measured it. But he's like this, and he looks at me, and he's like, and I'm like freaked out, and I have to do something. So I do full poker face, and I look him dead in the eye, and he's like, and then I look again, I lean in, and I put my arms like this, and then he melts away, and then they all just...
Weren't you scared?
I was terrified.
In no way am I saying that Josh didn't have an experience seeing these Bigfoot creatures. But when he was telling me about hearing something running on the roof of his house, well, that could have been anything. It could have been a raccoon, or it could have been a possum. It does remind me of a time when I was investigating in Kentucky. I thought I was looking at this Bigfoot creature. I was terrified. And then, you know what? Why am I going to tell you about it? Let me just show you.
Oh, I see there hasn't been very much movement out here. Very little, but when I was walking, I heard something small on this side. I was hoping for something a little bit bigger.
So we were down there, and we're walking on the road, and then there was a big crack in the forest beside us. So we stopped. Doesn't mean it's Bigfoot, but we didn't hear any more. Maybe a little bit of cracking. Then on this side of us, we could hear cracking in the forest, just slightly, as if something's kind of moving. Not saying it's Bigfoot. I am. I'm saying it's
No, you're not. No, you're not.
No, I'm not saying it's Bigfoot. We didn't see anything, but we heard it, and yeah. So now we're just walking back to the rest of the guys, and we have this camera person that's stalking us.
No, I came out here because he said just a little bit to the right. He goes, walk down a little walk, because I was asking if there's trails.
Yeah.
And he said there is game trails out here. He said, but typically the creature likes to come out about this point. You know, maybe I'm off by, 50 feet or more. But he said it. He says it goes in level and then it drops down into a ravine before it goes up real steep.
So that's how these creatures can hide.
Exactly.
I want to see eye shot. That's what I want to see. I see something down there. What the is that?
Where is it? On the ground?
John, I don't think it's a cat.
Yeah, I think I see the eye shot.
Holy shit. Oh, it's a possum. That's what it is. It's a possum.
Yeah, I see it.
Wow, that's cool.
It was only a small little possum. But see how, when you're kind of scared, and I thought for sure there was a Bigfoot creature in the forest looking at us. Actually, maybe it still is. Maybe it transformed into a possum.
It's amazing how close it can get. I haven't seen possums very often in the last 10 years, so this is kind of a treat.
Yeah, we see quite a lot of them out here.
Yeah.
I've traveled down the west coast of the United States to Oregon to speak at the Sasquatch Summerfest. My hosts have already taken me up to a ghost town where they used to mine gold. And now I'm investigating a possible Bigfoot encounter that took place the night before.
And all I could hear was like, sort of like a... and then it started milling around in the grass. And like, I could hear it like, just moving around in the grass. And then I essentially was a little wigged out, and it started flipping rocks right next to the tent, and I was uncomfortable. So I decided to come back to the movie, finished it, and then after the movie got out, I went back to my truck. And as I was sitting in my truck, I looked across the creek, and a pair of glowing eyes, just like straight line, went across, through the tree line, like a straight line, way above the ground. and probably for about like 75 or 100 feet. And then I thought I saw a pair of like two little eyes still in the tree, and I decided to zoom in with my cell phone, and I couldn't get anything out of it. And all of a sudden I see another pair of eyes from the creek run up to one of the tents, and it was about eye level with the tent.
Right here?
This is right here. I'm still trying to take photos, and all of a sudden the eyes like come up to that one tent, and then I can't see it.
Yeah.
I still got the cell phone up, and I'm just like, okay, activity. And so I'm just like, I still got the phone out, just hoping for something. And next thing you know, I hear like rustling, and then all of a sudden the backside of my truck just like goes down like somebody had like jumped on it. But then I also heard like the sound of like something like cat paws or something right on the roof and on the side and all that stuff, and I couldn't find.
Now, I'm not saying that Josh is lying to me. I find his story fascinating. But because I wasn't there to witness what happened to him, I can only take him for his word. I really want to believe that this happened to him.
So the best we could do right now is to cast that one and then try to compare maybe the middle finger and cast that one, just the middle finger, because I would think that would be the middle finger of the left hand, like that, like Brett's doing.
While Tobe is tending to the fingerprint, I got pulled away quickly to go and interview an eyewitness who just saw Bigfoot cross the highway just a few days ago. I have to act fast because nighttime will be upon us very soon.
From Oregon, born and raised, name's Ryan Cook, and I do construction. So I was actually driving down 58, headed south, and just left my friend Steve's house. I had my stepdaughters with me, and on the right side of the road, there was actually a car in front of me, but on the right side of the road, the car had like slowed down, saw exactly what I had seen, maybe a touch more, but I looked over, and there was like a game trail, and it was really large. What I saw, I thought was a game trail. I actually checked it out, and I took pictures of it, but I'm driving down the road, probably going like 55, 60 miles an hour, and I see it. And
what did you see?
So there's the guardrail.
What did you see?
It was brown fur, and he had his hands back, and he was very, very large, like an elk size. So he wasn't, I have never seen bear go like this, And so he's sitting there, and he's crouched like this, getting ready to actually leap what it seemed across, because he had already crossed over the road, grabbed the handrail, and was going over. Like he already like jumped over the handrail, was going over. So I just saw a glimpse of him, and I said, "There's no way that I could ever see an animal doing that with his hands, with their hands behind their back. I've never seen an elk do that or anything like that."
When did this happen?
So it probably happened about like 8:15. 8:15.
Last night?
Not last night. It was the 13th. It was the 13th of
July?
This month. Yep. So he literally just had his hands on there, drove past, and I didn't turn around because I had my stepdaughters with me, but I said instantly, I've never seen anything like this. I've seen all kinds of animals, black bears, elks, deers, different kinds of deers, whitetails, blacktails, mule deers, which are very large. But he had a brownish kind of tint fur. It wasn't, like a grayish, like a mule deer.
Yeah.
So it would have been an elk, is what I would have thought it would have been. But we went and inspected it a couple nights later, and it's this culvert going under the actual road. And so I have pictures of it. The culvert would be able to fit like a cougar, right? But it wouldn't be able to fit like an 8-foot, Sasquatch. And so the drop off coming over the side where he was standing goes into a culvert that goes about like at least 6 feet down. So a human, an elk, anything would have just died probably right there from breaking its leg. It probably would but we didn't see any fur, anything when we went to inspect it. Well, it's a dry creek bed because it's a culvert going under the road. So we started traveling up it, and the moss that we were seeing was either scraped away or flattened. And it's going up like this dry creek bed where a creek usually runs during the wet season of the year. And so it was that quick popping over, and there was no spider webs. You know, if you see spider webs in an area, you usually think, okay, there has been nobody going through here. There was no spider webs, so obviously something had been going through. You're not worried about anything.
So before this happened, did you believe in Sasquatch?
Yeah. I believe, in spiritual essences. I believe in a God. I believe, Nessie. I believe, in UFOs. I believe.
So do you?
And Sasquatch, absolutely. I wasn't a full, because I had never seen one. After 33 years of being, alive in Oregon, where we, see a lot of them, I was like, kind of like, okay, like, is it actually possible? I truly believe what I saw was a Bigfoot.
Now, I'm no expert on fingerprints, so I can't say that this is made by a Bigfoot. But I do know someone that is an expert on forensics. That is Gwendolyn Guthrie. She used to be a police officer. So you know fingerprints, right?
Yeah.
You want to help them do a fingerprint?
I already screwed it up because I thought I could do it without
Oh, is this the dude?
Yeah.
But
okay.
This was.
I am so excited. I want to lift that one, and try
Yeah,
on
but that
one.
might be his because it's so close
Look
to.
how big it is. That is not.
So this one right here is Squatch. This one might be me,
Yeah.
it might be me, but this one for sure.
Okay. Actually, no.
No?
Wait. There's a roll on that thumb, so it's a center and the side, so it's a spread thumbprint. So that could potentially be yours, because it happens when you grab something and you go to move away from it, you roll off of it, and it makes your thumbprint spread. But that could be your thumbprint. But I want to get this one. Like, if you look at this part of your finger and you look at the swirls in your finger, you can see how far out those swirls go from the center of your finger outwards. So if you look at these swirls in this finger, these dermal patterns here, the swirls are very, very, very wide. It goes out really far before it starts to curve back down. So that's not even a whole print though.
Yeah.
But you can tell how big your finger would be based on the fact that it's only half of the swirl pattern of the dermal ridge. It's only half of it. And if you look at mine, you see how small it is? That's huge.
Wow, now this would be so cool if it turned out that these were actual fingerprints left behind by the legendary Bigfoot. I'm not holding my breath though. Gwendolyn, she knows her thing. I mean, heck, she used to be a police officer. I'm gonna stop here now because I'm very excited to go to the area that Ryan, the witness that I just interviewed, he saw a Bigfoot cross the highway just last week. Oh my gosh. So, we're gonna turn in and we're gonna go there tomorrow morning. So, where are we headed? Over this way.
The airport, man. We got to get rid of. No, I'm kidding.
So we're going to go to mile marker 42 just out of town where somebody had a Bigfoot sighting. We're going to look for the fingerprints on the guardrail.
Yeah. So I just got a email from someone and they were talking about finding some fingerprints. That is on the backside of the rail where these two guys driving by saw this Bigfoot jump over the rail and down.
I'm driving down the road, probably going like 55, 60 miles an hour, and I see it. And
What did you see?
So there's the guardrail.
What did you see?
It was brown fur, and he had his hands back, and he was very, very large, like an elk size. So
You have the big guy in the very back.
Who the f?
Where is he? Me too.
Then we have Steve.
Okay,
and the
good.
little one. That was
The little one, yes.
That was Chad in the back. He sounds like a little girl, but really he is a little girl. Right, Chad? When we arrived, we went looking for the fingerprints right away. And sure enough, it didn't take long to find them.
Yeah,
We're talking about a 9-foot creature.
So that's not a Bigfoot.
Talking about a 9-foot creature that,
I think that's a bear.
Yeah, I think that would be it. I think so.
I think that what is a bear cub coming up and going, putting his paw in there and going, oh, a truck's coming.
Yeah.
And then he's going to go over.
And so where would that dirt come up from? Just the black from the...
I don't know. They're too, you know. Yeah. But I'm not a good enough tracker to tell you that.
But that is layover, layover, layover. There's 3 of them. 1, 2, 3.
So here's the other thing. Why would they be putting their paw on that? That's my problem. Are they going to lift up and then jump over?
If we're talking about a bear?
Or anything. Why would any animal... I mean, unless it would be up here, not there, you think? Or, unless they use that to kick over. After determining that the fingerprints were not left behind by a 900-pound creature, I went looking for footprints. And wow, was it a shock at how fast it took me to locate what I believe were tracks left behind by somebody with no shoes on. If you're wondering what size this track is, it's 21 inches long and 6 inches across. This was such an exciting find. What's that?
It's getting hard?
Yeah, you can see how thick it's getting, right? I just need some more water to put in this a little bit. I think you did a pretty good job. It was a good team effort. I don't think we're going to put any more on this. We'll just kind of hopefully, I know he wants to fill the whole thing up to the rim.
Okay, I just want
I'm like, John wants to put the whole thing in, but it's too late now.
Have you ever seen one like that?
No. After pouring the track and waiting for it to dry, I decided I wanted to see if there were any more footprints. Well, I wouldn't be surprised if there wasn't a few more down that way.
Hello? Don't have tons of people with it, just one person goes.
Okay, I'll take a walk down over here and I'll go take a look.
Yeah, just you, so nobody groups it up.
I ended up only walking 30 feet along the guardrail before I found another track. Only this time, it was smaller, about 13 inches long and 5 inches across. Nope, stay there. Don't move. So I found another track down there. Yeah. Okay, well,
do it your way.
Let's pass it.
You got one my way, one your way. There we go.
Thank you very much, little camera person. Did you have fun?
You're good, because I can't pour it in. I know, I always wanted to.
We found a bear print right here. Perfect one.
Oh.
Perfect bear.
Wow, it's a big one too.
Instead of us sticking around waiting for these tracks to harden, we took off to do some exploring. And when we arrived back, we had a shock of our lives. We have to be careful and remember that there is a wildfire burning only 2 miles away from where we're investigating.
Well, we are continuing to track a growing number of wildfires across Oregon, with people in eastern Oregon now on high alert. First to Wheeler County, where the Lone Rock Fire has officially become a mega fire, burning more than 115,000 acres of land. It's also about 40% contained right now. Evacuation levels in the town of Spray have been upgraded to level 3, go now.
After a couple hours of just hanging out and enjoying the beautiful wilderness around us, we had to get back to the casts because we just found out some interesting news. So now we're heading to go and dig up the footprints because we just found out there's some other people which are going to the same place to go and cast footprints that I'm not sure if these are the same footprints that they saw. Steven thinks that this is the same footprints. I don't think so. I think they're the footprints that were down the hill. We weren't down the hill. We were like, just, you think, damn it! They think it's the same footprints. So
but our cast will be dry. Like, we just got to
I know. But here's the problem. The problem is, if we cast them, they're going to say that they're the ones that found it first, which is true. So we will, I don't know. I mean,
there's nothing you can possess that we can.
I just want everyone to know that when I went there, there was nothing in the text, the first text telling me that there were footprints, only fingerprints. So when we got there and I saw them for the first time, boom, there they were sitting in the sand. Now I just got a text from Tobe saying that they're coming down to cast footprints. This is kind of we're racing to try and get to this area so we can get the casts before they come and dig it up. By the way, the fingerprints, I don't know if they're really fingerprints from a big hairy creature. They're interesting looking, but anyway, I just had to document this. I want people to know that I had no idea there was footprints there.
Oh, I'm going 60. It's 55 here.
Okay, I'll see you guys in a bit. On an expedition into the forest of Oregon, Chad, Gwendolyn, Sherri, and I were investigating possible Bigfoot fingerprints left on the side of a truck. Intrigued by the possibility of Bigfoot in the area, we interviewed an eyewitness who claimed to see a Bigfoot cross the highway only a few days ago. And after investigating the area of the sightings and casting a couple prints, we found out that a couple of investigators, people we did not know, were headed down to the area to help us look for tracks. Afraid of them finding the tracks that we cast, we were in a rush to beat them to the spot.
You know, now this is f***ing fun.
But then again, I don't want these guys to hate me, thinking that I double-crossed them. That's what I don't want. But they have to understand.
Tell them that I still work for the police department and that I got rid of the evidence. Let's start a conspiracy theory.
We did not know that they were coming up here.
I had no idea there was footprints there.
We found
It wasn't until we got there and then we found footprints. Jeremiah told me that there was fingerprints and wanted me to go and take a look.
And then we found Bigfoot prints.
Then we got there and then we found these odd, big, giant footprints.
So we ran to town and got plaster of Paris.
Exactly.
His name is Tobe.
Tobe. Sorry, Tobe. But anyway, and then getting a message from Tobe saying that there was footprints they're going to come and cast. So, anyway.
I wonder if they'd be better at casting than us.
Oh, maybe.
Well, there'll be prints. They can find more prints. Obviously, there's more around there.
Right here is where it went down to water. It's all coming up together. Put it on.
Good. It's hard
There we
to.
go.
It's good.
Here we go. That's one.
Do I turn it over? Or do we wait?
We'll just wait.
Maybe it's not even close to here. So it needs.
It's fine.
How's this look? See a toe here? A toe here?
There we go.
Toe. I'm trying to get.
I see a tobe there,
Yeah.
a tobe there, and a tobe there.
Put an X on it.
With all the laughter, you can tell that we were having such a good time. But that was about to change.
Yeah,
there we go. Yeah, okay, so
another one down
now
here.
for the other one.
They're gonna find the stick.
Yeah, throw the stick. You're a good man, Tobe, and you too, Jeremiah. But this is not down the hill. I'm very curious to know where you're talking about, though, because if it's down the hill, then it's over there and down the hill a bit. Oh, what happened?
Some marker?
Yes.
Is there a cast here?
Yes.
What?
Dude, the cast is gone. The cast is f***ing gone. Are you kidding me? Wow, this is great. I cannot believe that someone stole this footprint. How did they even see it? They must have been watching us. Obviously, they parked at the far end where there's a pullover for one vehicle. Then they walked along the guardrail and they found it, pulled it up. They had no reason to go all the way to the other end to find the second one. They thought there was only one footprint. So somebody must have been watching us. Well, it makes for a great documentary anyhow.
No.
I never went any further.
I'm gonna go to look and
Oh my gosh, the cast is gone. And what's funny is, why would they take that cast?
they didn't know about the other one.
Well, you couldn't not. Where did they park? So they parked there? No way.
So they probably thought this is where the fingerprints were because this looks the same.
Yeah, well that's where it was. The fingerprints are right there.
No, that's the other end.
No, right there.
This end?
This is it. Right there.
Okay, so the fingerprints are right here. They took that cast. And they didn't know we cast one further up.
That's unbelievable. Touche. You took the wrong print.
They took our f***ing cast?
They took it. They took it.
They took our cast! You're kidding me,
No.
right?
No.
No, they took it. Dude, it was surrounded by cardboard.
Okay.
They took that too. There was a stick
Listen,
and there was a
listen.
cast on the ground.
You were right. This is down. Oh, sorry. This is down the way. They said it was down. Remember the turn boys? I know. Oh my gosh. But they didn't.
They missed a whole cast. They didn't find a footprint. We didn't have to find a footprint.
They probably pulled
Okay,
right over here.
who has Tobe's number? As unbelievable as this sounds, it even gets better. For the next couple hours, I tried to get a hold of Tobe. I wanted to find answers. So after talking to Tobe and talking to Jeremiah, they had nothing to do with these Bigfoot tracks disappearing. In fact, we were investigating an area 2 miles away from the actual sighting that the eyewitness gave us. That's right! We weren't even investigating in the right location. Well, I couldn't focus too much longer on this situation because Chad and I were going to spend the night alone in the area where Priscilla's dad and Chad were roared at.
Recording this?
Film
Good.
this shit.
Okay.
If we get it done in take 2, you should be happy.
Go, tell me what happened.
Okay, so we were here, Ronnie, Dwayne, Denise, and myself.
And you were where?
We sat our chairs right here on the road up here so they didn't tip over. This is pretty soft ground. And Dwayne had to run, Ronnie had to run to pick up Sherri and go get us lunch. So Ronnie left. Now it's just Dwayne, Denise, and myself, and we're sitting here. Now my chair is here, and my back is faced to this. Dwayne is sitting in front of me, so his eyes are faced to this. And Denise is standing there. She had a chair, but she was standing, and she was looking at her father. Well, we were listening, and we could hear footsteps in here, like branches breaking.
This is during the day, right?
Yeah, this is like 11:30 in the morning. I told them, let's just listen. Then we heard it more, and then for some reason, it just crashed through the woods. Maybe it was because Dwayne made eye contact and didn't realize. Crashed through the woods. My back's to it. I heard it crash. Dwayne saw a black object running and jumping through the woods. So it did that, and so we just sat here, and we're calm, and we're listening. And within 15 minutes, maybe less, I don't know. Time is different when you're out here with people. All of a sudden we get roared at, and this roar was immense. And they panicked. They were like, let's go. And I'm like, no, it's okay. We have to stay here. Unfortunately, we had nothing recording. It's 11:30 in the morning. I didn't expect this. And within 12 to 15 seconds, I would say, after the first roar, there was another roar that was even louder and closer, which is probably the same creature closing in. Now they're really panicked, and I'm feeling really uneasy. I mean, I've experienced this quite a few times, but what happened?
What did it sound like exactly?
That's not exact, but it's
no.
close.
That sounds more like when you're sleeping and snoring.
If we come here in the morning and they're slaughtered, then we take the cameras and then we release our own movie, and it'd be way better. It'd be like the Blair Bigfoot project. Yeah.
I used to like them. I did. Not anymore.
Jason, I know it's a huge sacrifice, but in the name of science, it's one we're willing to make.
Yep. Before we decided to put up the tent, we had a look around to see if we can find any possible footprints. And what do you know? We found something that was an ominous sign. And for me, I'm hoping that this is a sign that we are going to have an incredible night.
I heard somebody saying at the conference that if you go to a spot often and then you come back and there's an X, it is the big feet telling you that they know you're there. And we just found one to a spot that's visited often.
And you didn't print there?
No.
This is what Bigfoot researchers call gifting. Hello, Bigfoot creatures. If you're around, here's a banana for you. There we go. All right. That is for you guys, Bigfoot. I did have strawberries for you, but I ate them all because it was delicious. I love strawberries. Yeah, really. We are really going to be doing this tonight. We hope that we don't get killed.
You're serious, Jason?
Yeah.
We're going to play right here. We're going to blast these calls.
Yep.
You and me, and we're staying out here in a tent, and they're all leaving us, and we're getting picked up in the morning.
Yep. Yep. Yes, we are. Just kidding, guys. We're actually in a backyard of the Hilton. Me going to the forest? Never. Never. No. No. Searching for Sasquatch is all shot on green screen.
We are 5 miles back on a road towards almost to the top of a mountain where all this activity has happened, and we're about to blast calls and sit here. And it's Jason and I alone, with the only way out is our feet.
I've heard stories of campers, someone in a tent where the thing comes up and shakes the tent. I have personally had something come up to my tent and shake it so abruptly that the top of the tent hit my head. Like it was swaying so far back, and then it did that for 30 seconds, not even, maybe 20 seconds, and then it ran off into the forest.
Is that why you had that dent in your head?
Yes, that's why I have a dent in my head. We're going to go for a walk in the woods right now. It's about 10 o'clock in the evening now. Hopefully we can see the stars. So we're just sitting here in the dark.
I can see a couple.
we decided to play the Sahara sounds. These unexplained audible sounds were captured by Ron Moorhead in the California mountains in 1971. There's nothing crazier than playing possible Bigfoot talking into the darkness of the forest when you have no idea what they are saying. After 45 minutes of no action, Chad and I ventured into the forest to see if we could coach out one of these creatures into dancing. With Chad, I'd be too busy running. After hiking for a few minutes, well, what do you know? We found a large tree with a broken branch. And after inspecting it, we couldn't determine if it was weather-caused or made by one of Chad's dance partners. I'm not saying it was made by a Bigfoot creature. It almost looks like it was made to stop someone from going forward. Or maybe one of these creatures was sleeping underneath it.
Jason, this is a live break. It's still alive.
But it could be weather related.
It's obvious there's no other wind damage in this area. There's no other wind damage. And there's nothing that fell on this.
It's late, and finding no evidence, we turn in for the night, hoping a creature of legend might come closer. But between you and me, I hope not. Oh, not because I'm scared. I'm bloody hungry. I'm hoping to have that banana for breakfast.
Something is walking around out there. Now I haven't stuck my head up yet to look.
If you're wondering if I was scared, it's sleeping like a baby.
I think it's probably still about 25 feet into the forest.
I wasn't. I was worried that whatever was out there, if it came into the tent, I would have to protect Chad. I didn't want to hurt it with my massive, strong muscles. Okay, fine. I'm lying. I was scared.
And we have these giant windows with no tarp over them. So I could just stick my head up and look. I'm just a little nervous. Okay, stay tuned. I'll be back. If it starts walking more.
I wish I had stuck my head out the tent sooner. I may have caught a glimpse of whatever was walking around. Daytime came soon enough. Priscilla and Steve were going to be here soon to pick us up. I was so ecstatic to survive the night and not get ripped apart by a huge, hairy creature of legend. Even if my nice bomber jacket smelled like forest fire smoke, I just knew it was going to be great to see some familiar faces. There was no action that happened last night. Some things I just could hear walking in the night. Something stepped on something that was pretty heavy. Other than that, that's it. This area is beautiful though. I mean, look at all the wildflowers. I was hoping that we're going to get some screams last night, but, you know. You can't find Sasquatch in every documentary.
What I want to say, Steve.
Yeah.
You're a great guy. I mean, I couldn't even imagine how kind and how we're on the same wavelength. Priscilla, you are a total saint.
I thank you.
And you did a great job at the conference. Eva, you are the most beautiful little girl in world and the smartest for a 7-year-old. Say our final goodbyes.
Here we go. All right. This is good. Steve, I want to say, go!
Okay, go.
Okay, is it recording?
Yes.
Steve. Okay, Steve, I want to say thank you so much. Okay. All right. Steve. Steve, I want to say thank you so much for having Chad, Sherri, Gwendolyn, is that good enough? Here, with, staying with you guys. And Priscilla did nothing. I know she did. Right? Yeah, we know. Yes, thank you so much. And Priscilla, right. Thank you so much. I know, damn it, I have to stay close. Okay, let's see. Tap my face, damn it.
I did.
So anyway, this has been so amazing. And yes, this is going into the documentary. But this is way too much fun. No! I'm not sure what exactly happened to the print. I'm pretty sure that maybe it hopped away to join up with the other foot. Okay, seriously. My time here has been rewarding. I have made new friendships that I know will last forever. And the adventure here has been so epic. I want to also thank all of you watching for your support in my quest to find answers for the search of Sasquatch. My name is Jason Kenzie. I'm out of here. I have a new expedition in the works, and this is going to be even more exciting.